Do you want to speak about the book of St. Mary's and the history of St. Mary's?
Just a short, brief history. This is really our parish directory.
Right here, this one that we have.
Could you just, okay.
With the last parish directory.
And in the front of it, they give you a little short synopsis.
There is a new history book, but we
They
didn't
do
have
have
it yet.
a book that's written about detailed history of the church, but it just says, the beginning in 1838, two Catholic families living in Fairfax, the Hamills and the Cunninghams, donated a tract of land to the Diocese of Richmond for a Catholic church and cemetery. The cemetery was created immediately. In the late 1850s, Irish immigrants responded to an Orange and Alexandria rail line advertisement for working men to lay tracks westward from Alexandria and settled in Fairfax Station. In 1858, the Bishop of Richmond laid the cornerstone for New St. Mary's and designated it a mission of St. Mary's in Alexandria. The men of the parish built the church on a slight hill overlooking what was then the main road leading into Fairfax from the south. For the framework, they used railroad ties as discovered during the extensive renovation in 1988. St. Mary's was dedicated in 1860. The only major purchase was a steeple bell that was cast in Baltimore in the 1880s. The priests of St. Mary's in Alexandria took care of the spiritual needs of the Catholics in Fairfax. They often celebrated Mass for railroad workers in boxcars standing at the station about a quarter mile from the historic church. The immigrants became nucleus of the new parish. Their names can still be read on the tombstones standing in St. Mary's Cemetery. And then the Civil War came along, and during the Civil War, 1861 to 65, the church's location on the main road from Fairfax Courthouse to Fairfax Station became an important objective for both the Northern and Southern armies, vying to dominate the railroads in the area. St. Mary's stood on land that was the scene of frequent violent skirmishes between the Confederate forces, which controlled the Manassas area, and the Union Army, which controlled the railroad out of Burke. During the Battle of Second Manassas, August 1862, a field hospital was established at St. Mary's. The wounded were laid on the church's hill as they awaited trains going east to Alexandria. Red Cross founded. Clara Barton, a clerk from the government patent office in Alexandria, gathered a group of volunteers to tend to the wounded and dying. She nursed the wounded for 3 days and nights as heavy rains fell and doctors operated in the only dry place available to church. As a result of her experience at Fairfax Station and other battlefields during the Civil War and Franco-Prussian War, she devised a plan to establish a civilian aid society which became the American Red Cross. A plaque honoring her heroism sits on Route 123 side of the church grounds. It's right on the church.
Tell about where they got the wood for the...
Yeah, and so the church was used as a hospital, and for both Confederate and Union soldiers, and so they took out the pews and burned them as firewood, and then they made all beds in the church, and when the train went south, they put the Confederate soldiers on, and when the train went north, they put the Union soldiers on. And then after the war, General Grant heard about that, and he instructed the Treasury to build and buy new pews for St. Mary's Church, and the pews are still there. They're the ones we still use, and we can't change them because the church now is a historic land site, our historic landmark.
Yeah.
And,
But you don't, do you still use the old church or do you use the new church for your services?
No, we use both.
Oh, you use both? Oh, okay.
Although, but those Sunday masses
Yeah.
right now.
Well, we just temporarily, we lost a priest, until we get another one, I guess. Services have been, Sunday church services have been suspended there, but they still have daily mass there. And also after the Civil War, they started this. It says, after the Civil War, cheap land that promised good jobs from the railroad and lumbering industry attracted large numbers of Union soldiers. Many of them were German and Irish Catholics that settled in Fairfax Station. The church community fit easily into life at Fairfax Station. In spite of widespread bigotry against Catholic immigrants, St. Mary's services and activities were highly regarded and always announced and covered in the local newspapers. St. Mary's annual picnic began during these years, first as a 4th of July celebration during the 1870s. After 1894, the affair was transferred to Labor Day. The event became popular not only in Northern Virginia but also in the District of Columbia. Southern Railroad ran special trains to and from Fairfax Station to accommodate the hundreds of people who attended year after year. St. Mary's annual Labor Day picnic is considered the oldest outdoor social function in Fairfax County. And it's still going on.